Hello, welcome to Breakfast Central on this very special day. Yesterday was Christmas, today is Boxing Day. And yes, we're here to bring you a daily dose of what you need to start your day right. And I'm talking about the news, insightful analysis, and the biggest events happening across our beautiful country, Nigeria. You're welcome to Breakfast Central. I am Benga Aboroa.
And I am Olive Emodi. Whilst certain people were getting Christmas gifts in boxes, some others were getting explosions from Santa Trump. We'll be looking into that shortly. We hope that today you get some time to spend with family and unbox all the great gifts that you got yesterday on Christmas, as that indeed is what the essence of Boxing Day is. It wasn't about physical boxing. My name is Olive Emodi. Once again, you're welcome to Breakfast Central. Thank you for being with us.
It's good to have you guys on the show. Thank you so much for coming. My name is Joe Hansen.
Were you not expecting us to show up?
Welcome. Yeah, it's good to have you.
You didn't get any gifts, that's why.
Why is it that when I come to the show with hair that you don't like, people will drag me on national TV? Then when I come with outfits and whole look that you like.
Olive, you look stunning.
Thank you.
You look good.
Thank you.
I like the green.
You look beautiful.
Thank you.
And today's show is dedicated to Nigerians.
There's a difference between
that's why we're wearing green.
And beautiful.
Which one is she?
She's beautiful.
What's the difference, please, before I start rejoicing?
Beauty.
Beautiful is...
Oh, it's small.
It's local. Beautiful is international. Standardized beauty. A global beauty.
Yeah. I see.
Yeah.
Clock it, you know what I mean?
Thank you, clock
it.
Anyway, welcome. We do hear that there's an alleged 50 naira imposed, that will be imposed on all Nigerians, especially from the CBN starting January the 1st.
I won't be surprised if I hear towards the end of the year that we'll soon have breathing taxes. That if you breathe without oxygen, you pay a certain amount every month.
There's a lot.
To facilitate the cleaning of the atmosphere, to ensure that what you're receiving into your body is natural O2, because the CO2 that you are emitting when you breathe out they need to clean it up, because it just feels like...
Yeah, because we might get there with this at this rate, but I don't want to scare Nigerians. I think...
You don't need to scare them.
Let's wait for the official circular to come out.
Let's wait, but it's part of our conversation we're going to have today, and kudos to the press, like we talked about it yesterday, the fourth realm. Without the press, a lot will not go well, and Vanguard decided to take it upon themselves to carry on that investigation. But let's bring you wake-up conversation as we start off with one story that's trending. It started trending from midnight up until now. Nigerians woke up to this story. It's got to do with the news that the United States President Donald Trump commanded that an airstrike be launched in Sokoto, especially with footage showing the airstrike that did happen there, as you can see on your screen. United States launched airstrikes targeting ISIS in Nigeria, and like I did mention, Nigerians woke up to this story with mixed reactions. But then again, let's get to see the president, who put out a tweet and also put out a truth post. He said, "Tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief, the United States launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorists in northwest Nigeria, who have been targeting and viciously killing primarily innocent Christians at levels not seen for many years and even centuries. I have previously warned these terrorists that if they did not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes as only the United States is capable of doing," said only. "Under my leadership, our country will not allow radical Islamic terrorists to prosper. May God bless our military, and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues," he says. That's from Donald J. Trump, President of the United States of America. Well, under this tweet, you did have counter reactions upon reactions, and the U.S. congressman also went ahead to tweet. Yes, to follow up what we just saw from President Donald Trump. He went ahead to tweet as well, and he spoke about the airstrikes and what was to come. He said, President Trump has been clear that the killing of Christians in Nigeria must end. As I stated at the outset, do not test President Trump's resolve in this matter. Tonight's strike is coordination with the Nigerian government is just the first step to ending the slaughter of Christians and the security crisis affecting all Nigerians, Riley M. Moore says. This is his reaction to what the president had also put out there and the strikes. Well, Nigeria decided not to keep quiet as well. While you had the United States president putting out a tweet, also a rep putting out a tweet, well, guess what? Nigerian government as well decided to put out a press release. And on that press release, they went ahead to make mention of the partnership that they had talked about with the United States of America. So here it is. It says, press release, Nigerian United States Security Corporation and intelligence collaboration hits terrorist targets in Nigeria. It says the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Federal Republic of Nigeria confirms that the Nigerian authorities remain engaged in structured security cooperation with international partners, including the United States of America, in addressing the persistent threat of terrorism and violent extremism. This has led to precision hits on terrorist targets in Nigeria by airstrikes in the northwest. In line with established international practice and bilateral understandings, this cooperation includes exchange of intelligence, strategic coordination, and other forms of support consistent with international law, mutual respect for sovereignty, and shared commitments to regional and global security. Nigeria reiterates that all counter-terrorism efforts are guided by the primacy of protecting civilian lives, safeguarding national unity, and upholding the rights and dignity of all citizens, irrespective of faith or ethnicity. Terrorist violence in any form, whether directed at Christians, Muslims, or other communities, remains an affront to Nigeria's values and to international peace and security. The federal government continues to work closely with its partners through established diplomatic and security channels to weaken terrorist networks, disrupt their financing and logistics, and prevent cross-border threats, while strengthening Nigeria's own security institutions and intelligence capabilities. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs will continue to engage relevant partners and keep the public informed through appropriate official channels. Signed, Kimebi Imomotimi Ebienfa, spokesperson, Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Abuja, and this was written on Friday, 26th December 2025, which it was written in the early hours of today. So back to back to back.
So many things happened.
So many things happened from midnight up until this morning, and it has caused a lot of reactions.
Maybe
like
we should also now connect this with Benjamin Netanyahu's message.
Absolutely.
Because it's also quite linked. Yesterday, Benjamin Netanyahu released a Christmas message to Christians all around the world. He had a message for Nigerians, and we'll take a look at that video. When we come back, we'll share our thoughts about all that Joe has, listed or explained, detailed, and then we'll head to X to get your reactions. But let's take a look at this video.
Israel, the only country in the Middle East where the Christian community is thriving. Israel is the only country in the Middle East where Christians can practice their faith with full rights and in total freedom, where Christian pilgrims are embraced with open arms and are so deeply appreciated, where Christians can celebrate proudly their traditions and openly do so without any fear. In Jerusalem, the city municipality every year officially distributes Christmas trees. It's been doing so for 2 decades. By contrast, a few days ago, in the Palestinian town of Jenin, Palestinians burnt a Christmas tree in the Holy Redeemer Church. That's the difference. Israel stands up for Christians across the region, wherever they face widespread intimidation and persecution. While Israel's Christian population is growing, the Christian population in countless areas across the region has been dwindling due to systematic discrimination and oppression. This has happened in Iraq, it's happened in Syria, it's happened in Lebanon, it's happened in Turkey, and it's happening in the Palestinian Authority. The birthplace of Jesus, Bethlehem, used to have 80% Christian population. That's when we were there. When we left and gave it to the Palestinian Authority, it has since dwindled from 80% to 20%. The persecution of Christians or members of any religion cannot and must not be tolerated. And Muslim militant displacement and attacks against Christians in Nigeria, that too must end, and it must end now. I'm sending Israel's Christmas blessings to our Christian friends around the world, and I ask you, know that Israel will always stand with you.
Yes, and that's Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stating clearly that any form of terrorism against Christians must end, and it must end now. He did also mention in part of his speech that they will not tolerate any form of violence to anyone. So it wasn't just the Christian angle, which I kind of like. He mentioned, killings against Christians, and quite frankly, any person.
This is a very, very sober moment in our history, in our 65 years of nation.
That we need international interference.
No nation, not a single bomb has been dropped on Nigerian territory, and we're seeing this happen. And the only reason why why a wanted war criminal like Benjamin Netanyahu has an ICC warrant on him, and the state of Israel has been very terrible to Christians in Palestine. Bethlehem is the birthplace of Jesus Christ. They are not having a Merry Christmas there. They're sleeping in tents in the cold. It's winter. He has continuously bombed churches in Syria, in Gaza in the last few years, and he's just using Nigeria as an excuse to appeal to a political base, using Christians in Nigeria. He doesn't care about Christians, even in the Holy Land. And this is really, really terrible. If Nigeria has fixed its security issues, you saw that Donald Trump tweet. There are many layers to it. Just 2 days ago, a suicide bomber carried out an attack and killed more than 4 people in a mosque in Maiduguri. He didn't mention that. You just think it's binary. It's black and white. That, these bombs are going to destroy people that are killing Christians and all of that. At the end of the day, I put the blame at the doorstep of the Nigerian government for not dealing decisively with insecurity. Because what the US is doing is very dangerous. The US has been bombing Somalia since 2007. This year alone, they've dropped over 37 bombs in Somalia. Has it taken care of Al-Shabaab?
Nope.
Is there peace in Somalia? What does it do? It gives profits to Raytheon, to BAE Systems, to Northrop Grumman, and all the weapons manufacturers. You have an excuse. It's become a permanent thing. Look at Syria, look at Iraq, look at all those countries. You do it once, and then you get used to it. We see a pattern. And it's sad that the Nigerian government is not taking a decisive step. Okay, in partnership, give us a coordinate. We have platforms the Air Force can carry out this attacks. It feels like we lost our independence yesterday. This is a sad day.
So what I would say to that is, any president can speak on supporting, based off their religion, supporting whatever faith they want to speak about. I think the essence of what democracy is being able to speak about these things.
But the person is convicted, wanted for crimes against humanity. He doesn't have the right to speak on Christians anywhere in the world, because his government is actively persecuting. And do you know the spit on Christians in Israel? They spit on them when they go for pilgrimage.
So yes, I did. I agree with everyone sharing their own thoughts, right, and everyone having their own perspective. The argument about Israel and
Netanyahu doesn't have the moral authority to speak on persecution of Christians anywhere in the world, because he's actively persecuting Christians in this country. That's my point.
So what I was saying in essence is, at the end of the day, the arguments about Gaza and all of that, everybody has their different sides of the divide, and everybody has different arguments. The International Criminal Court, however, is the world court, and that's presided and said this man is a wanted criminal for crimes against humanity. Again. So it's not a black and white. So it's not a black and white thing. Okay. Everybody in this argument has a different side they're supporting, nationally, internationally, regardless of how strongly you believe in it. The blame in all of this, the blame is at the feet of Nigeria's federal government. And the blame is at the feet of our federal government for failing to protect Nigerian citizens, such that the international community feels a need to step in. In a country where a sitting governor said that he knows the whereabouts of terrorists, he can see them on his phone, he knows when they're moving, and if he gets the order, they will be able to clear them in days. A country where we hear that children are being kidnapped from school, and then the government comes back to give us a flowery speech of how they've been recovered. What does recovered mean? How were they recovered? A country that has made it illegal to pay ransom, yet Nigerian citizens every day working hard, and their coins, their money that they're putting together, they're thinking about that. They're using these monies to pay terrorists, regardless of what legal instrument has been used to wield, has been wielded against them in terms of making it illegal to pay negotiation fees because they don't negotiate with terrorists. In a country where we have people who speak up for terrorists, who say that we need to understand how they think, they're not really terrible people, we need to understand. Someone who's speaking to the human nature in a country where we talk about the non-kinetic approach. That seems to be the order of the day. What does a non-kinetic approach mean? Where they start to gauge the level of wickedness being done to Nigerians, to say at least kidnapping is better than killing because in kidnapping they are still alive. Where we're trying to make sense of the crime. In a country where the law is selective in terms of deciding when the courts will be efficient, where if it's a case of Nnamdi Kanu and there's been a judgment given in his regard, the court can decide when and when not to obey it. But ultimately, in a case where people who go out and do actual killings are treated with leniency and are de-radicalized, brought back into the society to benefit from the good of a society that they have inflicted pain, hardship, and wickedness on. A country that has a government that has failed to provide security. I do not blame anybody. I blame the Nigerian government because the Nigerian government has failed utterly to protect Nigerian citizens, and they should be ashamed. They should hide their faces in shame. It's really a shame.
I agree with you, 100% spot on, because we brought this on ourselves, treating it with kid gloves, making excuses. People, look at your defense minister for state, for example, the level of accusations, and then even up till yesterday,
he was appointed as
the flippancy at which they dismiss Nigerians' questions. Those children were rescued. What happened to the kidnappers? They treat us like, we don't matter. These are very important questions that are begging for answers. You're interested in politics. Let's see how you play the politics now.
You guys have said a lot. Sitting down here as well, there's no way I can rethink or think about what you've all said, because every single thing that comes is what Olive has also highlighted and Benga has highlighted. You will not allow a stranger enter your house and tell you that there are rats in your house. I want to come and kill them.
Because you didn't put your house in order.
Because you didn't kill the rats. You didn't take care of the rats yourself. And a stranger came from, not even from Africa, outside. And I'm also worried that we put out a statement today when the strike happened. We put out the statement today. And we're saying, okay, this is AMCON, this is what we're doing, this is what we've partnered with the United States to do. The question is, all the soldiers who have been on the battleground, they've made videos, they've cried, many have died, and they've said, listen, we need weapons, we need help. We are being stopped from attacking or clearing these people. Where do they stand now in this action? That means they were just fighting for nothing. That's what it means.
Then let's
and in
also,
your statement, Benga,
yeah.
but in your statement, you just said it feels like Nigeria just lost its democracy, or its independence rather. And that's true. That's what it looks like. It looks like, in quotes, for the benefit of understanding, with due respect to the children who may be watching, it seems like Nigeria has just been raped. That's what it looks like. Because you have the perpetrator in front of you. Like Oliver said, not just the governor said it. There are many people who have come out to say, we know where these guys are. We know what we can do. But it seems like the political, or it has been politicized. That's what we've seen. Oh, don't touch them. We see where they make videos. You go to their weddings. You eat with them. There's even a report where they wore the clothes of a police officer they had murdered. And then you still shake hands with those who have been linked to have issues with them. But when it comes to getting people who are anti-party or those who are not in your party, you see how the law works so fast. Where is Malami, the AGF? We're not standing, we're not saying what he did. If he's guilty, he should face the law. But what about others too who are guilty? But because they are on this side, don't touch them. You see, the thing is, there's posterity. The future lies in wait. For whatever you sow, that's what eventually would reap.
Then another angle I want us to look at is, I hope we don't become another Somalia or Syria or Libya or Iraq, that you can drone strike, or Afghanistan at will, because we've seen a pattern here. The United States Their intention might seem good to some quarters, but I mean, you have a reputation that precedes you, and if you follow the history of the United States and what they're currently doing and what they've done in the last 3 months, you look at Venezuela, for example. The United States is threatening Venezuela because of its oil. The United States Navy is literally engaging in piracy off the coast of Venezuela. They've seized oil tankers. Donald Trump said the Venezuelan oil belongs to them. Venezuelan land belongs to America. It's almost like the world order has been turned on itself. How does that work? The United States has extrajudicially murdered over 104 people off the coast of Venezuela in the name of this so-called war against narcotics. The United States is not a fair judge in this case. Look at what they did in Gaza, bankrolling, providing diplomatic cover. The United States last week sanctioned ICC judges, Francesca Albanese, the special rapporteur for the Palestinian territories. She can't use a bank card. She's almost like a pariah because she called out Israel's genocide in Gaza, and that's the same United States that we're looking up to as a moral authority. The United States is not a moral authority in this case, and we should be careful with our engagement with them, because Nigeria is a very complex, multi-ethnic and religious nation. Let's just hope things don't escalate beyond this point, and the message has been passed. Let's hope this is a one-off. If you want to collaborate with Nigerian military, you can collaborate by, engaging in different ways, but you don't have a right to bomb an independent country. We have bombs in our arsenal. We can point to where the terrorists are.
Really? We can?
Yeah, we can.
They've done that. We've done that. I mean, during the time of
we need to step up. Nigeria needs to show leadership and just park politics aside and deal with this issue decisively. So the United States won't have an excuse to come into your house.
And just to say that there are lots of armed men, armed forces who have been working tirelessly, fighting day in, day out, putting their lives on the risk. Lots of them have lost their lives. January 15th will do will be the official International Armed Forces Remembrance Day. Will lay wreath in their honor, but there has to be more. The real way to honor the members of the armed forces is for the government to throw its resources and its arsenal and have. Every time we keep hearing about political will to fight corruption, every year they're presenting budget, defense is getting the largest allocation on the budget. If we're doing the same thing and it's not working, there's probably something that we need to do differently. So the government needs to show the political will to want to really fight corruption. To want to really fight insecurity, rather. Well, corruption, because corruption is definitely a part of what fuels insecurity in Nigeria. And how they do that is by putting the money where their mouth is and not saying one thing and doing another thing. All the allegations that we've heard, and we've even shared on this show, so many things that it feels like we make a lot of noise about, and after a while it's swept under the carpet, and everybody moves on like it's business as usual. So we applaud our armed forces, for the work that they do, for the sacrifices that they've made, but we want to beg the Nigerian government to do what it's meant to do. It is the Nigerian government's responsibility. They're not doing us a favor. They owe us that. The moment you've committed to being a leader, to being part of the government, to being a leader of our country, you're protecting us from internal aggression and external aggression. So that's your responsibility. Provide safety, provide security, and guarantee the welfare of every Nigerian. But let's get to X and see what Nigerians are saying about this. Also, at some point, I'll go on YouTube and take comments on social media. So please feel free to go on YouTube. We're streaming live, News Central TV Live. You can drop your comments there. But let's go to X first and see what Nigerians are saying about this. Concerned Citizen says, the President of the United States announces deadly airstrikes against terrorists in northwest Nigeria. The Department of War, equivalent to our Ministry of Defense, amplifies the message. Secretary Pete Hegseth, equivalent to our Minister of Defense, also amplifies the same message. On to the Nigerian side, guess who breaks the news to us, the citizens? Just guess. The President? The Minister of Defense? Nigerian Air Force? Nigerian Army? The Ministry of Foreign Affairs did, with no direct message from the Commander-in-Chief himself. I did not make this up, I promise.
These are the issues.
Facts.
He's correct. He's correct.
In short, the U.S. has taken control and the initiative in fighting terrorists, while the Nigerian government and army have been nothing more than useless and inept spectators. Well,
I wouldn't use that.
I wouldn't use that, actually. And then they call it an alliance. Nigeria, which proclaims itself the greatness of Africa, which boasts of having one of the largest armies, yet still needs the U.S. to be its protector while being treated like children? Question mark. So you guys can successfully bomb coup plotters in another country, Benin Republic, but you need the U.S. to cross oceans and continents to bomb terrorists in your own country. Can someone please make it make sense? Ogo Peters says. The president of Nigeria is Muslim. The vice president is also a Muslim. He says the vice president is a book.
We don't know about that.
Well, they've been mute and have covered up the heinous killings. So, no. I'm not quite sure we'll take this tweet. All right, that's all that we have. I don't know if we have the tweet of Omoyele Sowore. Sowore does not obviously believe what the Nigerian government is saying about being aware about the bombing. He had said it on X that he feels like, without using his exact, okay, yes, he said, I've read the reports that the United States government launched attacks on Nigerian soil on Christmas Day as announced by real Donald Trump, and the U.S. Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, purportedly targeting terrorist groups within Nigeria. Although the Nigerian government now claims it was aware and describes the operation as a joint effort with vague international partners, it is evident that the strikes were carried out without the genuine authority or informed consent of the weaklings masquerading as government under President Tinubu. My position remains unchanged. Judging by the nature of the confirmed strike on the village in Sokoto, it is clear that the U.S. president, under whose authority this operation occurred, neither understands nor genuinely cares about Nigeria or Nigerians. It is deeply troubling that Nigeria, Africa's most populous nation, lacks the capable and sovereign leadership required to protect its people and its territory. As a result, the country has been reduced to a bystander while its sovereignty is violated under the direction of the U.S. president. I reiterate, only true, tested and informed leadership can protect Nigerians, not imperiled, jaundiced neoconservatives operating from Washington, D.C.
I agree with it. And the United States Africa Command that carried out this operation just 6 hours ago put out this tweet. They said, at the direction of the President of the United States and the Secretary of War, and in coordination with Nigerian authorities, U.S. Africa Command conducted strikes against ISIS terrorists in Nigeria on December 25th, 2025 in Sokoto State. That's from the United States Africa Command. So they said in coordination with the Nigerian authorities. But that communication lacuna that we see, that there's no coordination, is really, really sad. I like that tweet that highlighted the chain of command, and we see it, and it does, what it does is amplifies the message. Commander-in-Chief, Secretary of War, reps, those concerned.
That's it.
The Nigerian, I'm sure they're on Christmas holidays, the entire communication team and the high command, because why would your sovereignty, something as in your 65 years of independence, this is the first time it's happening, we only get a press statement, not even from the Minister of Foreign Affairs. Look at the tweet. You would expect a live broadcast this morning by President.
Thank you. I was going there, Binga.
To assuage the fears of Nigerians, to explain, to calm them down, to say, look.
Does it count that he put out a tweet and he tagged the U.S. president?
Everything is politics.
Sometimes, let me just say this here, guys. I mean, I'm very certain. I know they're watching, because they always do. The media, the press, News Central, Breakfast Central, programs like this, I think the government should make it a point of duty to always watch these programs.
And feel the pulse of Nigerians. Yeah.
And use it as a measure for direction. Okay, fine. Oh, that's true. Because no human knows it all. We've said this many times. I'd likened the issue in Australia just recently, how they were able to handle it. General Musa, we expect a video this morning, if possible. That's how it should be done. Dear Nigerians, so was carried out,
and we're tired of press statements.
We just want to use this medium to show our commitment in ensuring that we will no longer, the way Nigerians will look at it, the way we'll even talk about it here, will be different.
Absolutely.
There's no video. There's no press release. When I checked as at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. this morning, there's nothing.
I mean, kudos to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs to even come out, the spokesperson, to put out that statement, because otherwise it would just been radio silence from government.
Let's even, I don't know if we can put up the Trump tweet, because this is the biggest story now in Nigeria. People woke up to this story and they're like, wait, while they were eating their Xmas chicken, they woke up and said, which one? Is it old? Let's pause. Now look at this. He said, tonight, at my direction as Commander-in-Chief.
Okpari.
Take note of that. Of the Commander-in-Chief. The United States launched a powerful... The question experts are asking, I mean, I've been able to comb around social media. Everybody's saying, well, in communication, I mean, my communication experts can also agree with me on this, or they can disagree, that when a United States president, like we see here, says, as Commander-in-Chief, in this whole entire message, he is now taking a stand as if, listen, I call the shots.
Yeah.
I don't think any Nigerian would like this. You might celebrate it.
I mean,
Finally, we need all the help.
This.
But as the president that you are of another country,
Chief, you need to step up to the plate.
It shows that
project leadership too.
No, in as much as you want to help, you can't directly claim the sovereignty of my own state. So therefore, I also need maybe a video.
And since Africa Command said it's not like it took them by surprise, since they said it was in coordination with Nigerian authorities, the Nigerian authorities knew this was coming, so they should have prepared their response accordingly.
We're not saying they should have pre-informed us, because obviously it was coordinated, targeted,
but they should have prepared their response and issued it at the same time in coordination.
Yes.
Exactly.
Again, I think the final thing to add here, we've highlighted a number of things, but the final thing to add would just be to further push, emphasize what Joe had talked about in terms of communication. What will help would be communication from the government with the Nigerian citizens, weekly updates or monthly updates or bi-weekly updates to say, we just want to feel the pulse of the government, to see that the government feels the concerns of Nigerian citizens. And feeling the concerns is how, when you're texting, your message can be read and subjected to multiple interpretations, as opposed to when you're having a face-to-face chat, video conference. Okay, maybe not that, but like the government, the presidents just basically speaking to Nigerians and saying, this is where we are, this is what we've done, we're not going to bed, we're not sleeping on this, we feel your pain, and we're part of it too, this is what we're doing. Because the truth is, they might even be doing things behind the scenes the Nigerians don't know about. But come out and communicate and tell us.
You have a Ministry of Communications,
that
you have
just put out a press release and that would
There's a retinue of essays.
This was the kind of thing that President Buhari did, where it was, it was very not, he wasn't communicating enough. And people, the phrase body language became a thing.
The government needs to understand that you're a representative of the people elected you to serve, you're there to serve the people. And the people have a right to know and demand. That's what democracy entails. Sometimes when people do advocacy and talk about some of these issues, the government feels we're a nuisance or they're doing us a favor by even letting us know. No, we don't work for you. You work for us, the generality of Nigerians. We have given you our commonwealth to govern us, but that's why we went to the polls. That's why Nigeria is a democracy. And it will be about time that we start holding our leaders accountable instead of waiting for 4-year electoral cycles. The effect of governance has real life, everyday consequences on Nigerian lives. And the same way, Nigerians should hold them accountable on a daily basis. So let everyone step up to the plate and do what's right for them.
Well, I must say this, that it's very tough being the president of a country. And I've said it here many times on this program. I really feel for the president.
But you said we should not pity him now.
I'm not done with my speech. Hold on now, guys. I said I really feel for the president because he's carrying a lot. But he also said, don't feel for me. Don't feel pity for me. He's ready to do the job. But then again, that's the latest story. It's one of the biggest stories. Even the international news media are agog with this particular story from all the news media. They're highlighting the strike, highlighting the key indices, indication, why it was carried out, especially across December 25th down to 26th and so on. And Nigerians are still waking up to this story. I can bet you that if you're watching it for the first time, I'm sure you're just knowing about the story. There are many people who are just knowing about this story. But we'll try as much as possible to ensure that we try to reach the authorities here on News Central It's our job. We're not just here to talk. We're trying to ensure that we extend an invitation to those in the presidency who should join us later on in the course of today's news programming, so we can hear from them critical issues on how this was handled and the role of the Nigerian military and the army as well. Like we said, we do hope that a video will be put out there by the presidency, or better still, from Nigeria's Minister of Defense, or maybe this Minister of State for Defense, talking about Honorable Bello Matawale,
All right.
better still, Major General Musa as well. But let's move on to another story.
Before you move on there, I just want to quickly take some feedback from YouTube as well, so that we carry our virtual audience along. Good morning to our virtual audience. Thank you very much for joining us. Corruption is killing the army in Nigeria. Akande Paul Olaoluwa says. And Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, corruption is the major challenge we have, but we keep allowing the wrong people lead us. And then he goes on to say, one question, why Sokoto and not Borno? I think he's referring to the tweet that Omoyele Sowore had put up, where he referenced Sokoto. And then Ikechukwu Victory, good morning, New Central. Belated Christmas greetings to you all. Thank you. Good morning. Akai's NGN says, yesterday, BAT, that's President Bola Tinubu, tagged Trump on X, addressing the killings issue on his Merry Christmas tweet. I am sure BAT is aware. Okay. And Mokunye Chukwuemeka says, the president has never spoken to Nigerians via a presidential chat. Don't expect any kind of communication from him. We'll take more comments as we proceed with the show. Please keep the comments coming, and we'll now move over to our next story, which is still sort of related to insecurity.
Yeah, I mean, that video had jumped up. Our producer was so excited to put out the video.
The video of them doing...
But let's show the video quickly as we run you through what's going on the screen there. The video you're watching right now is a video of Kano State Governor's military outfit, or security outfit, I beg your pardon. The Kano State Governor, Abba Kabir Yusuf, has unveiled a new local security outfit aimed at tackling terrorist attacks and other criminal activities across the state. You see, this one is different from the one the US just did. The launch took place on Tuesday at the Sani Abacha Stadium, where the governor announced the enrollment of 2,000 personnel in the first phase. The recruits comprise 1,870 men and 130 women who have undergone specialized training in security operations and intelligence gathering to enhance the core effectiveness. Now, he commissioned 88 Hilux patrol vehicles that you can see there, and 440 motorcycles that you also could see there for deployment across the state's 44 local government areas. The governor says the new outfit will operate within communities, working closely with residents, traditional leaders, and security agencies to gather intelligence, conduct patrols, and provide rapid response as part of broader efforts to curb terrorist attacks and improve safety across Kano State. There you have it. Well, let's take a look at this video just shortly, and then we'll come back and see what Nigerians are saying before we throw in our 2 cents.
I mean, the natural reaction would be to laugh at some of the comedic things there.
Can
like
I sing
the
a song,
fighting.
please?
But on a serious note, I mean, the Hilux vehicles, the motorcycles,
those ones are...
and dealing with insecurity, it's kudos to the state government for being proactive and doing something about it. And a lot of people focused on that.
What was that video? Was it entertainment or was that really training?
Maybe it was entertainment for...
Okay, I want to believe it was entertainment.
That was there.
Because when I saw that video, you know what I remember? Can we please play that video again? I want to give a background vocal to it. They call him Jehovah, Iron Breaker. There's a new song raining now. So Iron Breaker, this looks like it. Because before you reach there to go and give... and this is a woman, no. I need to up my game.
Why is he walking like that?
To show you that I have power now, power mic.
Anyway, bring that made it.
Prince Ajibade on YouTube says, we are an unserious nation, wallahi. What kind of shameless display of unseriousness is this? Who bewitched us?
Let it not take away from...
Let's not take away from
But I think
exercise.
When it comes to entertainment, there's a time and space when you do it. I think when it comes to security issues, Entertainment should not be mixed with it.
But this is not entertainment to them. For them, it's lessons in self-defense.
But that's not self-defense.
Karate. But
that
it looks
is not
more like
karate.
We are fighting with block.
But that is
Indeed.
not karate either. I mean, we do have colleagues who are black belters here, and when they analyzed that video, they said, no, stop this. That is not either. Where are we going to with all of this? First of all, we must applaud the Kano State government. Well done. You've decided to become the chief security of your own state. All right, by taking the bull
and
by
being
the horn,
proactive, yeah.
Being proactive. It's not just about, people are accused of the monies that were given for Hajj and so on and so forth, but he's now shown a different side of himself and saying, listen, I'm ready to tackle it. But I have concerns. The concerns are as follows. One, the vehicles that are being donated, I hope they are used for the purpose of security, of securing the lives of people in the 44 local government areas. Because what happens usually is that the vehicles will be used for a while. Later on, to feel the vehicles will be a problem, they will park them. You can go around Lagos State, you find some of the cars that were donated to the Lagos State Police. Till today, I passed some yesterday around Chakonde and I saw them. They're all parked there and left to
zero maintenance.
To just rot. That's one. Two, the motorcycles. We hope they're also going to be used for that purpose. Three, what are we going to do? What is he going to do rather? This doesn't concern us. To ensure that these security personnel stay within the ambit of ensuring that they are guarded and they are there to protect the lives
And
of
they
people.
also understand the human rights.
Exactly.
And they've been
That
trained
is
in
pressure.
human rights.
Because
and
we've seen the
civil relationships with the civil population.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We've seen the what's it called? Ebubagu, I beg your pardon. The Ebubagu incident, where as oftentimes it's being abused and it's not used to the benefit, because people, like they say, power.
Yeah.
You give a small person power.
And Amotekun going beyond their constitutional mandate to cutting hairs of youngsters with dreadlocks.
And the
things
Hisba as well.
Yeah,
So these are the
Hisba.
concerns. But I must say I applaud this, and seeing the crowd. Did you see the turnout? The turnout there? Huge. It was as if it was a football game covered, and you could see people cheering. It was as if they felt, oh, finally, somebody has listened to us. But this is the first step, and this is the first major step. Let's hope that going forward, this would eventually yield positive results and be able to protect Kano, especially from the borders of other areas that are bedeviled by the spate of insecurity. But the numbers are indeed good, and this is what you call employment. This would help reduce the level of unemployment by getting people who are willing to work and say, okay, I can enroll, let them enroll. And that's exactly what we've seen.
Well, beyond this, we want to see this replicated in other states as well, in terms of state governors looking at what they can do to fight insecurity within the state, because I think we've moved away from the argument of when we talk about insecurity, everybody says, it's the commander-in-chief, is the president. Every state has resources deployed to them. They are getting more now than they used to get before. Yes, they go to get federal allocation at the end of the month, but they're getting more now than they used to get before. So everybody must start to look within and think of what they can do to protect their citizens and to secure their states before we start running to the commander-in-chief. But let's see what Nigerians are saying on X about this, and if they're as excited as the people who were there.
The Yoruba...
What kind of a name is this?
Yoruba boy says, the northern people did not make a noise. They just woke up one day, equipped the people, and created a local outfit in the space of how many weeks? They have over 2,000 local security. Southwest, which has been meeting after meeting, has yet to show any work. Okay, what happened to Amotekun? I guess it is because the pressure is not much as it is in the northern part of Nigeria, but we shouldn't wait until it gets to that level before we start spending on security as well. The Southwest has a security outfit known as Amotekun. Prosper Well says, bandits laughing at their kung fu with their AK-47. Interesting. ATV says, this is a proactive and community-centered step towards safety. Well done to Governor Abba Yusuf and Kano State for investing in trained local personnel and equipment. May this initiative bring real security, peace, and confidence back to the people. Schools in Nigeria says this is one of the reasons why we're finding it difficult to defeat these criminals. Security has gone past the era of just rifles and patrol vans. Intelligence, technology, and political will are the key ingredients that our security architecture is lacking. Yes, I agree, but we still need those vehicles, rifles, and patrol vans. So all these martial arts can stop an AK-47. Okay, well done.
Sure, you give them better weapon. Don't go and waste their lives, though. Sir Timo says.
Well, I
So
can...
even the United States Army, when you're training, they trained you, and the Nigerian Defense Academy, you're trained to box and engage in physical combat. Because you might get to a situation where you've expended your ammunition and there's no weapon. So you have to fall back on what God has given you. So that's why they were highlighting that self-defense part, but it looked very comedic. So, and I also implore all of us in our daily lives to learn some form of self-defense. Oliver, are you into Kung Fu?
No, I'm not. Thank you.
Are you Kung Fu Panda?
I did a bit of Taekwondo, though.
What did you do?
On
You did a
YouTube,
little what?
where's Taekwondo?
Where?
It's been many years.
You
bones are
show us
stiff
some
now.
of the things you learned after the show.
I can show you
You have
again.
to.
Oh, because I'm wearing a gown. Charlie, Johnny attack one.
It's okay, it's okay.
Okay, hold on. Archives NGN says it's a commendable development, just that we hope it is sustainable and managed well. This isn't entertainment, though. It's like a show off to the crowd watching, sort of like a reassurance that their personnel is active. Mokunye Chukwemeka says, I wish the people of Kano well. And that's all on that story. We're moving to another story.
This story is one that should bother every Nigerian. Well, the Vanguard has decided to do a little investigative journalism, and they brought this up. Starting January 1st, a new 50 naira, I beg your pardon. A new 50 naira, I was already trying to do the entire calculation. A new 50 naira
Quietly.
government-imposed stamp duty will be charged on all electronic money transfers exceeding 10,000 naira, marking a significant shift in Nigeria's financial landscape. Unlike the previous structure where recipients bore the cost, the burden now falls squarely on senders who must pay this levy in addition to standard bank transfer or transaction fees. So while transaction or transfers below 10,000 and intra-bank transfers between accounts owned by the same individual remain exempt, the change is expected to disproportionately impact millions of Nigerians who rely on frequent, low-value digital transactions for daily sustenance. With over 70% of transfers falling under 20,000 naira, the cumulative effect of this added charge, especially during January, a financial strenuous month due to school fees, rent, inflation, sparked public concerns, especially after Oble. People have to now start trying to gather money. The quiet rollout and lack of widespread communication, again, has further fueled anxiety, raising questions about transparency and the potential for more unannounced, cost-intensive policies in the near future. So what are we saying here? Vanguard has done a deep research, and they found out that from January 1st, while we are getting ready to know if the tax laws, tax reforms will be implemented, by the way, that's a different kettle of fish. There are more updates on that story as well. Guess what? This is new. Now, this is just from a bank. A bank decided to send this to its customer to say, dear esteemed customer, following the new Tax Act 2025, please be informed that effective January 1, 2026, the 15 naira electronic money transfer levy, EMTL, will be referred to as a stamp duty. This charge will be debited from the sender of the transaction rather than the beneficiary. Kindly take note of this change for future transactions. So it means that if I want to send Binga 10,000 naira, and I'll send you 9,950 naira.
No, send me my 10K.
No, 10,050 naira.
No.
Yes, now because they
Yes,
collect
yes,
their 50 naira on top.
They are collecting it from who now?
From you, the sender.
From me.
Yeah, so you send the
So I
10,000.
won't allow it get to 10,000. You guys don't understand.
No, because you're cheating me. It's just like somebody I send you voice.
No, but
We'll talk later. I'll give you
the business is
15 naira.
10,000. So you give me my
guys, my
10,000.
friend. So I don't want them. Bottom line, this is what we're saying. What it simply means is normal electronic charges. If you send between 350,000 naira to somebody, now if Benga gives me 350,000 naira, you'll be charged 50 naira by the bank. Banks vary. Their charges vary. Different banks. And then there's also what they call the NIPS tax. There's also tax as well on that 50 naira. So if it's 350, you'll be charged 3 naira 75 kobo. So you're paying 53 naira 75 kobo if you transfer 350,000 naira to me. With this new introduction now, you have to pay 100 naira and 75 kobo, which means there's 50 naira added to it. The question now is, why these multiple taxations? That's one.
They said it's part of the new tax law.
They say it's the new tax reform laws. The tax reform laws, has it kicked in yet? We need to also understand. is it going to really kick in? Because there's a case that has not been resolved. The case of the amendments that have been done
gazetted
on
issues,
the gazetted and the one that was done by the Assembly. And many have even brought it out recently on X, subsection 8. They've highlighted it. Some clauses were added that were not supposed to be added. So now they're asking, where did these clauses come from? That's 2. 3, if you're going to engage in withdrawals, most times, you're charged 35 naira and so on and so forth. So what it simply means is Nigerians should just brace up, because whether you like it or not, you would have one tax issue here, coming here, money will go here, go here. But where I strongly have a problem with is communication. We would expect ordinarily that communication shouldn't be our problem at this point, at this time, especially when we are making changes for all Nigerians. You should have communicated to say, listen, the former XYZ EMTL will now be your stamp duty. It's going to be 50 naira. This simply means if you do this, you do that. And tell Nigerians ahead of time. That was the same issue we had when they were about to introduce the 5% on the fuel when you buy your fuel.
Tax.
And Nigerians said, no, you can't do that again. Why are you taxing us all over again? It became a back and forth issue. The same issue also when they were about to review the tax concerning the importation and exportation, especially for vehicles and all that. And we saw them, the exporters and importers, they all stood up and said, no, we'll not agree to this new tax system. Back and forth, they brought it down. So I feel that as a people, we're going through a lot. And bottom line, we should just brace up. It's really going to be a tough year come 2026, as we can already start to see it now. They say Sunday we go sweet. That from Saturday we go take. That from Friday.
Weekend we go sweet.
So 2026 we go tough. You start knowing it, especially.
I beg my own 2026 no go tough. Oh. That's a typical.
But let's. I mean, you've touched on all the issues. Mine is transparency and open communication, and multiple taxations too. But let's take a look at what Nigerians are saying.
Okay, I'm not sure we have that.
Yeah,
okay,
we do.
Okay.
They are just changing it. Normally, when someone sends you 10,000 naira, 50 naira is deducted from the 10,000 naira. But now it will stop, and the 50 naira will be taken from the person sending you the money, not from you receiving the money. So it has changed. I remember the time where banks sent agents to go round soliciting for customers in person, house to house. Soon we'll get to this same point and face whatever armed robbery that's to come with it. Our fathers did it in the past and survived. It's not new. This is someone angry that his money is there. It started earlier this year now. That's what someone said. I'm so tempted to say, what is 50 naira? But this Nigeria, you can't give them an inch. They will take a mile.
Well, on YouTube, Julius Yama says, everybody go collect with multiple tax next year. Last, now to begin bury money for ground inside Kolo. Tinubu, let us breathe, please. That one. Well, these are what we have this morning. We want to engage our virtual audience as well. Keep the comments coming on YouTube. The chat box is open. News Central Live is where we're streaming. But let's now share with you our top stories for today. This morning on Breakfast Central, President Tinubu reaffirms commitment to protecting religious freedom. APC endorses Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara for second term. Julius Abure warns Otti, Peter Obi against organizing parallel convention. Displaced families mark festive season amidst hardship. This really, really sad. And the newspaper front pages will be reviewed this morning on the show. Stay tuned for all these and more. Nigeria's ruling party, the All Progressives Congress, APC, recently endorsed Governor Siminalayi Fubara and Bola Tinubu for second terms in office, signaling a major political realignment in Rivers State ahead of the 2027 general elections. The endorsement was announced on Monday during the commissioning of a newly completed housing estate for permanent secretaries in Port Harcourt, an event that blended governance with overt political messaging.
We have a president that is a detribalized Nigeria, a president that derobed himself of sentiment when it comes to addressing national issues. Even those who have not fairness and justice to all the subnationals. And what has happened in Nigeria today is that we have a president that wants Nigeria to develop. I was impressed for the fact that even today, Mr. Governor of Rivers State had to address a very important issue that will have a spectacular improvement on the revenue of the country, and that is the Ogoni question, addressing the need for oil exploration to resume back in Ogoni land. It will help our country and also help that. Today, anybody that is standing aloof and has not joined the APC, maybe they are giving their time. We are very sure that in the fullness of time, all the timber and caliber, all Iroko of political relevance in Nigeria will join my party, your party, the party of the governor of Rivers State, All Progressive Congress. And so, I want to assure you that the party will create a level playing ground for everybody. Just as our leader, President Bola Tinubu said during the last NEC meeting, which all of us attended, we must.
Well, joining us for this discussion is founder of TAF Africa, and also a political analyst and one who's very interested and has followed closely with the politics in Rivers State. Dr. Jacob Wele joins us. Thank you so much for being here this morning.
Thank you for having me.
All right. Just as we start this conversation, I think the very best question to ask as we kick off will be, what do you think the fate of the governor of Rivers State currently is? We just saw in that footage where an endorsement has been given and he's been told to go ahead to run for a second term. However, his, the FCT minister, Nyesom Wike, has said that he wouldn't have his support. So what are we going to see here now? We're going to start a new round or a second part or part two of this altercation again?
I think I'd like to start by saying that in the school of power, power dynamics, when power shifts, you have no other option than to align. FCT minister have no other option. There is a power dynamics, a movement, a shift that we are seeing, which is expected. I don't align myself with over endorsement, because it is the act of electing a leader into a position is not the job of politicians, is the job of the electorate. So what APC is trying to do in Rivers State is stating the obvious. It's very clear, and it has been very clear to them that if they don't do what they are doing, Bola Tinubu will lose Rivers State. So they are just aligning with the wishes and aspirations of the people. Whether that wish tilts to APC is what I don't know. But I can tell you what I know, that anything other than Siminalayi Fubara in position, it becomes a very interesting situation or scenario for APC. Fubara has the grassroots support of the people, with or without Wike. The people, he is loved by the people in spite of some of the miscalculation he himself has made, but he still have very strong grassroots support. Anything other than that will be a disaster to anybody who makes that mistake. So I'm not surprised that APC has suddenly woke up from their sleep. Maybe they took the tablet APC and cured themselves of headache. And now they're aligning with the wishes and aspirations of the people. But ultimately, what will happen is what we'll see at the ballot box, endorsing Siminalayi to run again is aligning with the aspirations of Rivers people. Rivers people love him, they want him, and there's nothing anybody can do about it. I think he's someone that one can describe as a leader whose time has come. Even though I keep emphasizing that despite the fact that he's my kinsman, I don't speak for him as a person as I speak for the office he occupies. So whether it's Siminalayi today or tomorrow, John or Nwodo, whatever name that occupies that office will have my support, because he's the governor of Rivers State, not governor of himself, not governor in limbo, not governor in exile, but the governor that the people have wholeheartedly embraced to represent them. And that's exactly what is happening. So if they had done otherwise, I can guarantee you it will be a political suicide for APC. So whatever they are doing right now, hopefully it aligns with the overall wishes and will of the people. River State will always support whoever works for them, you know, and give it to Fubara. He had done some very meaningful things, not paying lip service, not media chats, you know, not gathering people, not getting praise singers, but meaningful development. It was almost like every week is commissioning one thing or the other. Think of the time that he came back to power, and now see how much project that he has commissioned, and every one of them, he kept saying he's not owing the contractors. Unknown to many people, some of the bridges that Wike commissioned in Rivers State, the contractors were not paid. It's Siminalayi's administration that were paying them. I don't know whether they have finished paying them, but that's exactly what we got.
Okay.
You know,
You've spoken so, highly about Governor Siminalayi Fubara and the projects he's done. But I want to ask a question. If you believe genuinely that Governor Siminalayi Fubara's alliance with the All Progressives Congress is because he believes in the ideologies of the party, or if it's to save his political future?
Look, you know me, I speak my mind and I speak objectively. I think both ways. The decision to go to APC is entirely his personal decision, his political permutation. I don't have much to do with that. He didn't discuss that with me. He has no business discussing it with me. All right. So whatever he chooses to do is his own kettle of fish. You know, peradventure, he consulted widely. He had the support of his supporters, you know, before he made that decision. Does it look like he's also doing it to save his political future or present or future? Yes, there's no doubt about that. The way and manner he has been ambushed, you know, any right-thinking politician is likely to make that kind of decision. And it goes back to the statement that Adam Oshomole made, which keeps lingering and has become a mantra. Oh, whatever sin you commit, if you come to APC, your sins are forgiven. And many of them are hiding under that mantra, knowing fully well that they haven't served the people well. They have stolen so much from people. All you need to do is cross over. Once you cross over, ESCC will be one, not to near you. No, you become untouchable, you know, which is very destructive, and it fuels corruption. It gives impetus to crooked politicians, you know, that we have today in Nigeria. And the more we promote this ideology, which is anti-democracy, you know, the more we promote it, the more evil we create in democratic scene. It does not help us at all. It's more or less like, anoint the unanointed to occupy an office that person doesn't deserve to occupy. I think only that's all I can say for now. I think it's both ways. He did it to save his political future. He also did it to align with maybe the wishes of his supporters.
But not because he believes in them.
Yeah.
Not because he believes in the APC. I
won't subscribe to that because I'm not Siminalayi. I don't know whether he believes in APC or he doesn't believe in any APC. That's not my take. I don't know about that, but I think he has been told that he's not a good he's not a politician. He doesn't know anything. But some of the strategic steps he has taken of late has shown that he's smarter than what they think.
Okay. Now, Dr. Pele, fair enough, you're not in his head, you can't tell where he is, but from what you can see on the outside and as a follower of Rivers' policies, you can tell that he's very pragmatic about his political choices. Now, that brings me to this question. Earlier in your submission, you did speak to the fact that, look, endorsements don't really guarantee anything. It's the people that count at the end of the day. Now, let's talk about the people of Rivers State. From your own vantage point, you feel, they have a soft spot for Governor Fubara, and given this, it shouldn't have a problem returning to Government House in 2027. However, he comes with a lot of skeletons per se in his cupboard, because we don't know what sorts of agreements happened in those few months that he was suspended, what the deal is with the APC. Having said that, would he still be able to focus on governance, or what's the opposition state of play like, and what do ordinary Riverians feel about the governor?
I think he's very strategic in terms of his governance agenda and execution. If they will allow him, I believe that Fubara will do well, because Fubara that I know as a kinsman is somebody who is not, Fubara is not very ambitious. He's not very ambitious. I can tell you that for free. He can walk away from anything and everything, okay? And many times he wanted to walk away. I'm telling you facts. Many times he wanted to walk away and forget this whole thing. But his supporters will not let him, And of course, doing that will be to put democracy in a harm's way. However, this is the truth. In a free and fair election, and I challenge anybody to prove me wrong. In a free and fair election, let Wike go ahead and nominate somebody to contest against Fubara in a free and fair election. Fubara will beat that fellow fair and square. I can tell you that. Today, if an election were to be conducted, whether anybody likes it or not, Fubara's popularity has grown in Rivers State. It's not a question of who has a deep pocket. It's not a question of who makes all the noise. It's not a question of who claims that power is in their hand. The president is solidly behind him. And I'm telling you, the grassroots support movement, in terms of that, if election holds today, even if Wike has to come and contest against Fubara, Fubara will beat him nonsensically. I can tell you that for sure. He has the people's support. And I'll tell you the reason for that. Number one, Wike hurts many people. He has many enemies that has not forgiven him. Okay? Wike has a lot to himself, that people are not very happy about. Okay? So he doesn't have more friends in River State than the enemies he has. So if he does anything today, he can't go too far. Forget about using federal might and all that, you know, causing trouble, doing whatever they can do to create chaos. Take that away in a very quiet, peaceful scenario. Fubara will beat Wike any day, anytime. Anybody that Fubara endorses will beat anybody that Wike endorses any day, anytime. You know, despite the fact that, of course, Wike has more money than Fubara, you know, and I'm saying personally, he has more money than Fubara, can create more crisis than Fubara, tend to have more thuggery than Fubara, but yet ordinary people are willing to go all out to send signal, not because Fubara is a perfect politician, but just because they don't tend to like the political methodology of Nyesom Wike, period.
Okay, Doctor.
If you want a simple, straight, objective analysis, I've given it to you.
All right, Dr. Gwele, I mean, your analysis, you've highlighted that there's a difference between the two. One is more buoyant financially, the other isn't. But I want us to look at the Rivers Assembly, the House of Assembly members, who have all moved to the APC. And there has been a rift between the Speaker of the House of Assembly in Rivers State, talking about Honorable Martin Siminalayi, and the governor. The issues of him not submitting to the House before he spends, and also him not carrying them along. And it seems like it's still going to lead to a lot of problems. What do you think should be the best solution to all of this? Because the Rivers people have already been in the dark for the past 6 months or 7 months, thereabout. They've not really enjoyed true governance from a politically elected or democratically elected governor. And here we are again. It's like the rift continues from the House of Assembly and now to the governor once again.
Well, with due respect to the Speaker, Amewule, you know, sometimes, to be honest with you, I find it difficult to use all the prefix that we use, right, Honorable, when indeed the person does not show any iota of honorability in the person's disposition. Whatever, let's leave that. Look, as far as I'm concerned, some of the things that the State Assembly, led by Amewule, is looking like what late Okadibo described as a ranting of an ant. You know, as far as I'm concerned, the power has shifted. The dynamics is not in their favor. It is in their best interest to work with the governor. Now they have decamped again. Before they decamped, denied it, and twisted the Supreme Court. It was assumed and presented that they did not decamp. Now they have openly come and claim they decamped to APC. The governor is also decamped to APC. So will APC work against its own machineries? I don't think it's going to be possible. They can't stand up again now and say that they want to impeach him. I don't think they will get the support of the president, of the central government, at the neck. You know, I don't think they are going to get that support. However, the best that they can do is to leave unnecessary criticism. You're telling me that the governor had not done anything in the education sector. 8 years of Wike, what did he do in the education sector? One of my kinsmen was his commissioner for education. I personally tried to help in bringing some level of development to education sector. He was all frustrated. So what did he do compared to how many months, that troubled months that our brother Siminalayi had been in governance? Oh, you're saying, the executive is not working with you. Did you work with them? Were you not the one who humiliated this governor? Sim is just a true Christian. Otherwise, I don't think anybody will want to work with them. And every day they are making things difficult for him, making it difficult for him to trust them, to work, for them to work together. So I don't know whatever he wants to do. My question, if I have an opportunity to see any of them, is to ask, what do you really want? What do you really want? And I kept saying this thing. What they are doing is simply playing out a group of people that wants to make themselves enemy of the people. Thank God, before anybody would look, I've said it times without number, I don't speak for Fubara, can never speak for Fubara. I speak for the people of Rivers State that they are trying to suffocate. And as long as I'm alive, I'm not going to keep quiet. If these people truly love the state that has given them the privileges and position that they occupy today, the state that the taxpayers' money are given to them with all sorts of allowances, if they really love, they should just work with this governor. Because several times, Siminalayi had asked the same question I asked. What do you people want? Anything he asks for this allowance they are giving. Ask for a new premises, they are giving. You're turning around and say you're not going to move from where you are, you will be there. That means you don't want to go to the new assembly that is being built for you. The question is, and for all you, my colleagues in the media, ask these people, what do you really want? Let Amewule and his group come out and say, this is what Rivers Assembly, this is what we are asking the governor to do. There's no specificity. Everything today they talk about this, tomorrow they talk about this. They're not specific. What is it that the man is doing? Okay? So these are some of the challenges that Fubara will have to deal with. Unfortunately, Fubara too is not helping himself because he's not speaking out. He's not speaking out. He has all the apparatus to be able to communicate with the people and let people know what he's going through. You keep enduring, he's almost becoming stoic. Endure. At the end of the day, it doesn't take you anywhere. It doesn't take the people you're leading anywhere. So they're just acting as people who doesn't know what they want.
All right. I want to say thank you so much, Dr. Jake, for joining us. And as we look forward to the stories that will unfold and recent happenings in Rivers State, we'll continue to, of course, keep our viewers abreast with the latest. Thanks for your time and thanks for sharing your thoughts as well.
Thank you, guys. Thank you. Merry Christmas to all of you. We'll connect somehow.
Thank you.
Olive, you're looking like an olive tree this morning.
It's a season. It's a season. Merry Christmas, sir.
I know. Merry Christmas to you all
Thank
and
you.
your family. God bless you.
God bless you as well. Thank you. All right.
Let's move on now to our next story. As Christians across the world celebrate Christmas, internally displaced persons living in camps across Nigeria are marking the season under difficult circumstances. Well, in Abuja, the nation's capital, displaced families gathered to commemorate the festivity, holding on to hope despite ongoing challenges. This story is in a report brought to you by our very own reporter, Aishat Salihu, who visited Durumi internally displaced persons camp in the Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. And she puts this report together. Take a look.
There's no audio.
A mother of 9 children and many other women like her, it's been a very difficult time living in the camp with limited resources.
Ruwa ma bamu da shi, muna wahalar ruwa. An zo doka mana nepa za mu yi sati biyu sati uku bamu da ruwa. In an zo an tara kudi ana bi shago a zo a tara kudi a kai ma masu nepa to kudi din ba zai isa ba sai su zo su yankar mana da nepa. Makaranta ma bamu da kudin da za mu kai yaran makaranta. Yanzu makarantar gwamnati za mu je mu yi rajista. Yaro guda daya wadda secondary school za mu je mu register sai mun biya 50,000 ana muna zama ga ɗakin mu wani rana ɗaki yayi zafi kamar wuta babu fanka a ciki babu flow a ciki ga ruwa yana shiga cikin ɗaki.
Tun 2014 mun zo nan muna zama challenging kala-kala muna gani a nan ba mu da kwanciyar hankali abin da ya ɗaga mu a can Boko Haram ne. Da Boko Haram sun kore mu a can mun zo nan kuma yan uwanmu wanda suna aikin gwamnati kuma iri su task force su polisawa da su yawanci ma'aikata dai suna zuwa takura mana anan.
They say the celebration was made possible through support from faith-based organizations and humanitarian groups who donated food items and other essential supplies. They are demanding improved living conditions, access to education, vocational training, and long-term resettlement plans that will enable them to rebuild their lives.
Gaskiya Christmas dai sai godiya ma Allah. Muna dan samun shinkafa organization suna kawo mana shinkafa da dan su magi da su mai da jiya kaman karfe 1 an zo raba mana shinkafa nan shine mun samu mun dafa ma yaran mu yau da safe. Gwamnati ya tana so ta yi da mu ina za mu tafi ya kamata gwamnati ta duba ta taimaka mu ma a gina mana gidaje mu je mu zauna zaman mun da anan muna yi gwamnati bai fi karfin gwamnati ba.
As celebrations wind down, the displaced families here say their greatest wish is not just relief materials, but lasting peace and a chance to return home with dignity. For them, this celebration is a reminder for their struggles and a prayer for a better future. In Abuja, for News Central, Aishat Salihu.
Very insightful report from Aishat there. We'll go on a quick break. Breakfast Central continues in a moment. Do stay with us.
The political temperature in Nigeria's opposition party, the Labour Party, is rising as the Julius Abure-led National Working Committee has issued a stern warning to Abia State Governor Alex Otti, his deputy, Ikechukwu Emetu, and key loyalist, the former presidential candidate, Peter Obi. The message: back off from organizing a parallel national convention. The Nenedi Usman-led faction, reportedly backed by Otti and others, is nominated, as announced, plans to hold a national convention on February 28, 2026.
Well, a move the Abure camp has branded illegal and futile. But what does this actually mean for the future of Labour Party? And is the Labour Party still a power force, if you want to put it that way? This morning, we do have one who is now the National Vice Chairman, Southwest of the Labour Party. Mr. Abayomi Arabambi joins us this morning, all the way from Ogun State. Good morning and welcome to Breakfast Central.
Yeah, good morning. Thank you for having me. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year in advance.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Let's look at the drama that's still surrounding Labour. First of all, it's been a long time since Labour Party, or in quotes, the obedient, have spoken about the Labour Party. Is the Labour Party still active, as it were, using the Gen Z language? Is it still active?
Yes, of course. The Labour Party is very active, and we have only one Labour Party, which is under the leadership of Barrister Julius Abure. And this is also evident in, when you check the INEC portal, it's also evident that we have only one leadership under Barrister Julius Abure as national chairman, and Alhaji Umar Farouk Ibrahim as the national secretary. And other NWC members. So we are still very active, other than most of these, Nollywood actors, in Labour Party.
You call them Nollywood actors, but some of these people you refer to as Nollywood actors are planning a convention by February 2026. What do you make of this? And could you also let us know who you're referring to, so I'm sure we're on the same page, to as Nollywood actors? Do you mean the Nenadi Usman faction?
You see, let me be very, very explicit here. You see, in Nigeria, you see, you have a lot of heavily demystified and defeated orangutan politicians, who even in the face of judgment of Supreme Court, you see them flagrantly attempting, to disobey, the judgment of court, despite Pretoria, of judgments of Supreme Court that said political parties' leadership is not justiciable by any court. It's not justiciable. It happened in Magnus Abe versus Rotimi Amechi. It happened in Senator Darato Mafara, versus Yari. It happened even in Barrister Cyril, the Afghan leadership. So many like that, the Supreme Court has made pronouncement. But you see, as far as we are concerned in Labour Party, I want to call on the Nigerian Medical Association. I think we have a lot of people who are victims of what we call, phantasmagoria affliction. And they need to take them to hospital for operation so that they can be delivered, of their delusion that they find themselves. I call them Nollywood. And the chairman of that Nollywood is nobody other than Governor Lalesoti. I don't know who admitted him, whether it's the Yoruba Tata or the Igbo Tata. I don't know who admitted him. If they have admitted him, I think he should just resign as the governor and now go and join them so that, you will continue with our carry. Why do I say that? There is an attorney general in Abia State who ought to know that Supreme Court is the highest court in the land, and any of their judgments must be obeyed. Now, but when you see people who deliberately chooses to afflict themselves with what we call physiological fantastica, that is an art of lying. They knew they are lying, and yet they want to deceive others to think they are not lying. That is exactly what is happening. The man knew, as Attorney General, that he ought to have advised his boss very well that issue of party leadership is not justiciable. Now, let me go to Electoral Act, because I wouldn't just want them to think, I am talking, not from part. Section 92 of Electoral Act is very clear. They said every registered political party shall give commission at least 21 days, notice of convention for conferences, meeting, convene for purpose of merger, electing member, executive committee, governing body, or nominating candidate for any elective position. That's 82.1. Now, 83 says, 83.1.3 says, Commission may direct inquiries under Section 2, subsection 2 to the chairman or secretary of the political party at the national, state, local government, or area council. Now, let me tell you what Part 2, sub 12.3 of the regulation and guideline for political parties 2022 provide that the national chairman, national secretary of the party shall jointly sign notice of convention, conferences, meeting, and submit same to the to the commission. Please, who is Otti to now go and now be claiming he want to do convention in 2026, February? Knowing fully well that on the annual portal, even if you Google it there, the only person you are going to see is Barrister Julius Abure and Alhaji Farouk Umar as the substantive national chairman and secretary, in line with Part 2, sub 12.3 of the regulation and guideline for political parties 2022. So this is why I said they are a bunch of Nollywood actors, because they knew what they wanted Today, they themselves form the Nenadi committee. They themselves dissolve the Nenadi committee, and they form another one. Now, in our Labour Party constitution, which is what I am holding here, it is only the national chairman that can preside over NEC meeting. So, who is Governor Lesotho to say who is presiding over NEC meeting? Who is Nenadi? Who is Daliti Wokota, or any of those, bunch of comedians in that their party? They are just bunch of comedians. It is only Article 14 is very clear that the national chairman shall give leadership to the party, preside over all meetings of the National Convention, National Executive Council, National Working Committee of the party. So when you have your constitution that in 2015, Justice Mary Odili of the Supreme Court declared that parties must obey their constitution, even before you say you want to obey the constitution of Nigeria, first they say you must obey your constitution. And yet these people claim they are members of Labour Party, and yet you want to disobey our constitution, and you are now doing it as if to say we are talking about the Abia State indigene. For God's sake, this is Federal Bank of Nigeria, this is a political party, and we are not member of the Nollywood, of which the governor is now the chairman, Abia State chapter, and whosoever the secretary, we don't know. But I just want to advise Governor Lesotho, he should stop being a comedian. We are serious people in Labour Party, because I know that he is an ungrateful person to Barrister Julius Abure. I put it to him.
Why do you say so, Mr. Rabambi?
Yes, I said I put it to him. Understand, he cannot correct me on this, because he was at Transcorp. We have an opportunity as at that time to give our ticket to another person. He came to Transcorp. He knelt down. Governor Lesotho knelt down before Julius Abure to beg him for ticket. They gave him that ticket free of charge.
Mr. Rabambi, are you sure of this statement you are making, that a whole governor knelt down?
He came to Transcorp. You have heard Julius Abure said it many times. He came to Transcorp to beg for that ticket before they gave it to him. And now you can see why a lot of political parties have rejected him in the past. So I must give it to SPN then.
But
I must thank their leadership. I must thank the leadership of PDP. I must thank the leadership of Abga for rejecting Lesotho as their candidate before.
But if I'm being honest,
we never knew him well, and we gave him tickets, and look at what he's doing. And Lesotho has not contributed one kobo, to this party. I'm coming. Number two, do you realize that his deputy governor was the one that declared the convention? In Ninewi, and Lesotho deputy governor, all the members of assembly, they were there. It was also part and parcel, only for him to turn around. You see, when a man pontificates on a lofty principle of idea of decency, don't turn around to say that principle is no more realistic and you have to compromise. Governor Lesotho knew that convention is legitimate, and there is no pre-court cases against that convention. There is no post-court cases against that convention. But because they want to use us to make money, when they are not doing anything to the party, they felt we are just bunch of political idiots that cannot be swept away, so that they will not take over the party. And that's why I said I will thank the leadership of PDP over the long years. I will thank the leadership of Abga and the leadership of SPN that they refused him 100%. They refused to give him their ticket. That was why he has been a political orphan until when he came to Julius Abure at Transcorp Hotel, where they gave him the form for all the assembly, the Senate, the Rep, and the governorship. That's why they gave it to him. I am not a baby. This is my 18 years in Labour Party. Lesotho cannot come and be telling me history of Labour Party. He cannot. He lacks the capacity.
Mr. Rabambi, we hear you and your arguments against Governor Alex Otti. Citizens of Abia State will feel differently. And from the outside, as those who are watching, the sentiment we get from onlookers, or even those who are part of these, the party in question, is that they're very pleased with the performance of Governor Alex Otti as a governor of Abia State.
A man that abandoned.
If you may please allow me land, Mr. Rabambi, if you may please allow me land, that they're very proud of how Governor Otti has led with vision, direction. Very recently, we talked about how many communities in Abia State he restored electricity to, and there were governors before him who did not perform as well as he has performed. So they've praised him. And quite frankly, when they praise him, it also reflects a commendation of the Labour Party, a party he currently belongs to. What is the Labour Party without Alex Otti?
Well, Labour Party has always been there. You know, this is also the narrative people pushes out there about Mr. Peter Obi until when it was demystified in all the obstacle election in Nigeria. Governor Alex Otti, as far as I'm concerned, is just a man, you know, who is deceiving the Abians, probably because of their level of education. With due respect, I don't know, or because of the level, you know, of their political understanding of Nigeria. A governor that abandoned government house uses Abia State money to be building his own house. If he know he had the capacity, he should have made his house what it is today, rather than when he was not the governor. You abandoned a government house, and you are now using government money to fund your building. You go and be holding government meetings, spending government money. Who is deceiving who? Is it the street light that this guy uses generator to power? Is that what we are talking about? Or because, oh, he's giving electricity to community, then Julius Abure should just resign for him? Are you getting me?
We're with you. We're with you. We're with you.
Okay.
We're with you. So
yeah, so because he's giving electricity to them, then Julius Abure should resign and leave before. No, this is not Abia. This is Labour Party of Nigeria, a party that has been established by law and governed by law. We were there before him, and like I said, he knew he has tried it with PDP. He failed woefully. They didn't give him the ticket because they are saying this attribute in him, an attribute of a man who will want to destroy the ladder, you know, that took him up. The PDP, they saw this attribute in him. Even the Ab guy, you know, he had tried to run at many times, you know, so many times.
All right, Mr. Rabambi, it seems your network is a bit shaky. We do have many questions in which we'd like you to answer. One of which is if Labour Party is really, really proud of him. You were trying to answer that, but we didn't get the context. Just to ask again, so what's the issue right now? Julius Abure also has cases in court, if I'm right, and I stand to be corrected. Does that still make him the legitimate person? Are you there?
Yeah, you said who has cases?
I said true or false. Julius Abure still has cases in courts. Am I right?
No. All the cases have been thrown out. Because Supreme Court, you see, it is the same Alex Otti who was trying to use a judge in Abia, you know, to shop, you know, for one, you know, Jankara injunction, which because they will go and put them on notice. Because he knew the Supreme Court is very clear, especially clear, that issue of party leadership is not justiciable. It is only the party themselves that can effect any change in their leadership. And as far as we are concerned, Julius Abure remained the national chairman of the party. So there is no substantive case against him. It is only the Alex Otti, you know, that is backing Nwokocha and Peter Obi that is backing Nenadi that have issues now. Because you see the NLC said, oh, we have dissolved the Nenadi committee. You can imagine building something or nothing. How can a legal, you know, body be dissolving another illegal body when they know they don't have the constitutional power? So there is none, like I said, there is none. If they have any, they can come on here to tell you it is dead on arrival. Because when they file it, the court normally tell them that, look, this matter is not justiciable. And they knew the court would throw it out. So the one they filed, they will go and withdraw. When they fight, they go back to withdraw the matter. When they knew, you know, wanted to join issue with them. Okay. And the only thing we are going to tell the court is that the court lacks jurisdiction, as pronounced by the Supreme Court, to make any pronouncement on party leadership. And that is Supreme Court, except they want to have their own Abia Supreme Court, maybe in Cambodia or in Sabisa Forest. They can go and establish that. But the one established by law in Nigeria has declared that it is not justiciable for any court, you know, to delve into the leadership But they can go and form their own in Sambisa forest.
Now,
Nobody will go in them. They can go and form their
because of the
government there.
time we have left, just to project into the future. Next year is the penultimate year before general election. Many political parties have given notices of their conventions, and is there still room for reconciliation in the Labour Party as we inch towards the 2027 elections? And what would reconciliation look like? Because they say a house divided cannot stand on its own. If the Labour Party is divided in terms of personalities, then how do you want Nigerians to believe that, you know, this is the party that would offer them succor or do their bidding?
Is it unless all things start suspended, even as we speak, it has been suspended by neck of our party. And whenever we are going to have a convention, you know, maybe anytime soon, probably because of that, you know, it will be expelled. It is not bigger than the party. For the reconciliation, a lot of reconciliation, engineering is going around for us, you know, to be able to perform better in 2020, you know, 7th general election. But not with characters, you know, like, you know, Governor Otti, who has a sole aim of destroying, you know, the very platform that gave him life. I don't know where he could have been now. I think if he's not the governor, I don't know. I think he should be grateful to Julius Abure and Faru, because there were people that are far more financially stable than him. They came, Julius Abure rejected the offer, and yet they gave it to him, you know, because of the promises he made. And that was why most of us are surprised. So we don't want to advise him. I think he need to seek forgiveness before God and now apologizes to Barrister Julius Abure. He need to apologize to him that, my brother, I am very sorry, I erred, and then we can now consider that to err is human, to forgive is divine. But as it stands presently, the re-engineering is going on. We are preparing, you know, for 2027 election, whether Otti, you know, now chooses to go on a solo journey, we don't know, or whether he will want to just come and do restitution, political restitution in Labour Party. I think that would be better for him, because as far as we are concerned, if he continues in this trajectory, I'm afraid he won't have a platform to contest under Labour Party. He's not going to have that platform.
All right. Mr. Rabambi, thank you for joining us this morning. The Labour Party has, I mean, what we are seeing now, it feels like it's almost every political party that has factions, that have strong claims, except the All Progressives Congress. APC.
No, we don't have faction. We don't have faction. If you check INEC website, there is no faction. They didn't put faction there. It is only Julius Abure, national chairman, Abdulaji Farouk, national secretary. These are the two people signing correspondences in line with INEC guideline for political parties 2022, part 2, sub 12.3. That's why I read it, so that the Attorney General cannot go and read it, because I don't know whether they are even whether most of them are even versed in this electoral matter or in their own constitutional law, with due respect. But we do not have faction in Labour Party. Right. We do not.
All right, Mr. Rabambi, thank you for joining us this morning on Breakfast Central, and wish the Labour Party all the best.
Yeah, thank you very much, and good morning.
All right. Well, we're going to break now, and when we come back from the break, Gbenga will be bringing us the breakfast headlines. Please stay with us.
Hello, welcome to Breakfast Headlines. I am Gbenga Abure. We begin with the news at this hour, with President Donald Trump's announcement that the United States forces have carried out deadly strikes against Islamic State militants in northwest Nigeria on Christmas Day. Speaking on Truth Social, Trump describes the operations as numerous perfect strikes and warned of more attacks if militants continue targeting Christians. United States Africa Command confirmed the strikes were carried out at the request of Nigerian authorities, killing multiple ISIS fighters. Nigeria's foreign ministry early on Friday morning local time said that precision airstrikes hit terrorist targets in the country's northwest. It added that it remains engaged with Washington and structured security cooperation. The United Nations has condemned the deadly suicide bombing at the mosque in Gamburu Market, describing it as an attack on civilian and freedom of worship. The United Nations resident and humanitarian coordinator in Nigeria, Mohammed Fall, in a statement issued on Thursday, said the attack was deeply distressing. Fall said the timing and location of the attack made it particularly troubling. He said the United Nations stands with Borno Governor Professor Babagana Zulum in condemning the incident, which he described as heinous attack in a place of worship. The UN official also supported calls by the Borno state government for tighter security, especially during the festive period. A fresh legal controversy has erupted between the Economic and Financial Crimes Commission, EFCC, and a former Attorney General of the Federation, Abubakar Malami, SAN, over the service and enforcement of a court order granting bail, raising broader concerns about adherence to the rule of law by state institutions. The dispute followed a ruling by a federal high court in Abuja, which reportedly granted bail to Malami in a matter involving the anti-graft agency, while the EFCC, through its legal team, has denied being duly served with a court order. Malami's office insisted that the order was properly served with legal procedures. In a statement issued by Malami's media office, Mohammed Doka, it was stated that the EFCC and its lawyers were served with a court order shortly after it was issued. In another news, the Independent National Electoral Commission in Sokoto State is intensifying efforts to prevent underage voter registration and vote buying ahead of upcoming elections. Resident Electoral Commissioner Umar Yusuf Garba said the commission has strengthened screening under the continuous voter registration exercise, requiring verifiable documents like birth certificates, age declarations, or school certificates to confirm eligibility. Garba emphasized that these measures are critical to protect the integrity of the voters' register and ensure qualified Nigerians age 18 and above can participate in elections. And that's all on the news at this hour. Breakfast Central continues shortly. I am Benga Aboroa.
You're welcome back to Breakfast Central. Let's review the front pages of the papers, see what they're saying, bring you our analysis, take your analysis via phone calls, as well as read your analysis via your comments on our YouTube chat where we're streaming live, News Central TV Live. Joining us this morning is Public Affairs Analyst Theophilus Akatugba. Good morning. Compliments of the season. Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.
Good morning, Mr. Akatugba.
This is the last...
to be with you. You're looking really...
Thank you. Thank you so much. This is the last Friday in 2025.
Flanked by a very handsome man. You know, such a privilege.
And royal men too.
No, handsome, okay. Royal.
Leave royal for me today.
I'm also royal.
Don't follow me to drag
My grandfather is a
born royal, but
So you want to go and fight to be one too? Like somebody who is fighting to enter...
Farm 7.
I didn't mention any name.
Okay, let's get into the papers this morning. We're opening the phone lines from the jump. If you want to call, please call the numbers at the bottom of your TV screen. We will take that. But let's hear from our guests first as we go through the front pages. On the front page of this Nigeria newspaper, the big story there, how bombers struck Maiduguri Mosque on Christmas Eve, according to the military. And then we can see here, northern governors condemn attack. Tinubu orders immediate security before. NLC urges Nigerians to reject altered tax laws. Bajabiya Mila remains chief of staff, says presidency. According to Niger, Kotangora Catholic Diocese confirms freedom of 230 abducted pupils. And the weekly review, transactions on NGX down by 379.1%. Let's talk about the attack on the mosque on Christmas Eve, according to the military.
well, I want to say that that's a sad and an unfortunate development, and condolences and my sympathy goes to those who are affected. It's another attack that that brings to fore that these terrorists and these evil people are still on the prowl and they are not relenting, especially at the time it happened and in the place it happened, begin to show that what pattern of attack is this? If we have the idea that the Islamic terrorists are attacking Christians, what the narration to this right in the mosque? It shows that we just have a certain level of evil perpetration against Nigeria as a country, either to set us up into something bigger than we think or we currently can understand. My feeling is that Nigeria need extraordinary measures to respond to the behavior, the actions and the activities of the terrorists in this country.
Big one. There's another big one that indeed took place in the early hours of this morning, even though some of the responses that we're expecting to get either from the Nigerian army, the SSA to the presidency itself, didn't put it out until the Ministry of Foreign Affairs put that out. But it's a clip that's also circulating online showing the United States President Donald Trump carrying out airstrikes, especially in north part of Nigeria, Sokoto as well. We do have some of the footage, so we'll put that out and also put out his tweet. I think that's so far so good. That's one of the biggest stories. Why you wouldn't find that on the front pages is because this happened
in the wee hours of the morning.
And some of the papers or the press, newspapers would have gone out for printing, would have been published on social media. So that's it. President Donald Trump, talking about his direction as Commander-in-Chief of the United States, launched a powerful and deadly strike against ISIS terrorists, scum, he calls them, in northwest Nigeria. And he went ahead to say that, I'm just going to skip all the reading and go down where he said, may God bless our military and Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more.
I find that disturbing, though.
Many more if the slaughter of Christians continues, and he signs that. This was also followed by a member, a rep, who had come to Nigeria to look at the incidences that took place in Borno State and some other parts, Benue as well. We're talking about Riley as well. He also put out a tweet too, actually confirming the bombing. He said President Trump has been clear that the killing of Christians in Nigeria must end. As I stated at the outset, do not test President Trump's resolve in this matter. Tonight's strike is coordination with the Nigerian government is just the first step to ending the slaughter of Christians and the security crisis affecting all Nigerians. We do have the footage of some of that. But let's come back to the studio as we get your reaction to it as well. This is taking place. Mixed reactions from different quarters. Some feel that Nigeria has let its guard down by allowing a foreign body or a foreign country, in this case as it were, to infiltrate and come into its sovereignty, even though it's in the name of partnership. They feel that Nigeria should, and we have the firepower to have carried all of these things out ourselves.
My first reaction would be good strike, but the words of Donald Trump's message could be divisive and could portend a conflagration, a further division, and turn this whole matter into a religious crisis. And so I am not very comfortable with the words and the wordings of his message, saying that the ISIS actions in Nigeria against Christians alone. And that is what I do not feel comfortable.
And the member of the Congress also highlighted Christians.
Yes, so when you do that, because look at the attack that just happened, the story we started our conversation
2 days ago.
Right in the mosque. And Muslims have been killed. So if you say you are attacking the ISIS terrorists that are troubling Nigeria, that have been fighting and terrorizing Nigeria, it would be an appropriate statement. But to say that you are just attacking them because you think or you believe that their crusade is against Christians, that is where I have a challenge and I feel uncomfortable with the development.
Now, the aspect, you also said it's good too. Yes. Many people have questioned it. They said this same Nigerian Air Force that went to the Republic of Benin next door and restored democracy at the speed of light definitely has some capabilities. So why can't it bomb these terrorist hideouts and locations. They have the platforms to do so.
Right.
So why do you need the United States to come and bomb the soil of a sovereign state?
Thank you very much. I think, in my opinion, if you look at the Benin Republic matter, was a clear invitation of the government to Nigeria. If you look at also Burkina Faso, Nigeria, all these countries, we have not been able to form an effective partnership with them in fighting terrorism in a manner that we can easily stroll into their territories and pursue them as far as they can run. As soon as they leave the Nigerian territory, we're handicapped. And that's why you see that Nigeria is trying to romance France and see if France can and you can also see that those countries have severe relationship with France. So it's become very difficult and makes it a big haven for these terrorists to easily move in and out.
So the terrorists within Nigeria's borders.
I'm thinking that if you look at what is happening now, you might say, okay, yes, but if Nigerian government have said, okay, instead of allowing Donald Trump to come wholesale, we decided to move into a partnership, a collaboration. It's a way also, because Donald Trump was going to come anyway, whether you collaborate with him or not. And that would have been a breach of our sovereignty. So if we have decided to negotiate with him as, okay, let's work together. Working together is better. But when you word it that the Nigerian government is in partnership with the United States government to fight the ISIS terrorists that are attacking Christians, it becomes another...
I like what you said, working together, partnership. But the announcement came from the United States of America, even though it was happening on our territory. Wouldn't it have been better for the announcement to come from our end, knowing that our sovereignty might be breached? This is unprecedented in the 65-year since we got independence. This has never happened. The Commander-in-Chief of the Nigerian Armed Forces, President Tinubu, hasn't said anything. The Defense Ministry hasn't said anything so far.
In short, is SSA, Mr. Bayonodoga, just put out a post that was about during the 8 o'clock hour. And, you know, comments under there were like, oh, he's coming late to the party.
Yes.
This happened.
So if it's a partnership, why isn't the country that is involved?
I think we should be realistic.
Why didn't they take leadership?
United States is taking leadership on this. Nigeria is collaborating. Announcing the United States is telling you we take leadership. There is no need to color it. It's not a weakness of the Nigerian part. Nigeria is not big, it's not strong enough to have dealt with this. I speak this. I don't know. I'm not a deceiver of myself or Nigeria. We have a pretentious feel that we have capacity.
But militarily, we have the capability. If there's a political, is the political will we don't have.
If we have it, we would have resolved this matter.
You think so?
Yes.
Let's see what the foreign
We don't have either the will, we don't have either the resources. We live in that self-bubble and deceit that we have the resources. We don't have.
You think so?
Yes, I know.
So,
I know
would you
this
say that
sure.
it's that we don't have the resources, or there's a wrongful application of the resources? For example, every year we see that defense has the highest allocation in budget. Yet it's the same challenges we're dealing with.
The total budget of Nigeria is 40 billion this year. Compare that to South Africa and other countries in Africa. It's a very meager budget for 220 million people. That you have the highest chunk of the smallest budget doesn't mean that there's anything to go on. How much is one bomb? How much of it? You saw the military men when they were confirmed. They were hammering on the cost. They were repeatedly talking that it for you to bomb firepower is dollars. And that with that money...
the ones they've purchased in the past...
They've been using them. Are they just stock up? We don't want to speak that terrorists feel that we are weak. It is a difficult thing to lead a Nigerian security institution when you don't have enough resources.
My question to you as a follower of history and diplomacy and international relations and geopolitics, where in the history of the world has the United States ever intervened and they turned out better for it?
I like
one country.
I like that country. That question. That's why I said the United States have had a notorious, history of conflagrating local conflicts. But here we are, that Donald Trump on rampage, in his crusade, in savior of Christians, and then you came into his radar. If you like or you don't, he will come there. So how do you save the situation? You will confront him. If you do confront him already, there is this idea that our country is breathing better in all sectors. And you see all manner of things that are happening. You want to therefore allow them to come wholesale and be bombing without you even having a say. So the softest and the easiest ways to do this.
A sort of
to
collaboration.
damage, yes.
Yeah,
Otherwise
but
they will be there doing what they are
extremists,
doing.
the extremists that are watching this, they are not measured in their analysis. What they know is that the United States, that has been going around bombing Muslim countries in Afghanistan, Iraq, has finally come home to roost. And United States bombs, they would see evidence that it has killed people here and there, and they will be forced to even join the extremists saying we are fighting the great Satan. Isn't that a way of just making the issues worse? And from the statements that has been coming out of the United States government and authority, they are painting it as a religious crusade, as a religious problem. Christians, Christians, Christians. So the United States is adding more fuel to the fire.
That is the unfortunate part of this development. That's why I said Nigeria and Nigerians must be smart and wise so that we don't fall into that narrative. We must pull it back and say this is a terrorist, a crusade against terrorists.
Exactly. So
and the victims are not only Christians, they are Nigerians. That's how we should respond.
So that should even warrant a response from the presidency. Now we're expecting possibly a video either from the Minister of Defense or the Minister of State for Defense or the President himself or but let's see what the United States media is saying. The press is agog. I mean, everywhere. You check Fox News, you check the
international press.
Everybody's talking about it. Let's see if we're able to put out a little clip out there to see what some of them are indeed saying concerning this issue.
6 o'clock Eastern time tonight, about an hour ago, that President Trump announced that the U.S. had launched strikes inside of Nigeria, targeting and killing elements of ISIS in the northwestern part of the country. We don't know how many people were injured, how many were killed in this American strike. What we do know is President Trump says the reason the strike was launched is because he says Christians within Nigeria, as you mentioned, have been targeted, not just over the last year, but really over the last several years. He broke this news on Truth Social with a pretty lengthy post. I'm going to just read to you the back half of that post. He says, quote, "I previously warned these terrorists that if they do not stop the slaughtering of Christians, there would be hell to pay, and tonight there was. The Department of War executed numerous perfect strikes. Merry Christmas to all, including the dead terrorists, of which there will be many more if their slaughter of Christians continues." We also saw the Secretary, Pete Hegseth, say, quote, that the president was clear last month. The killing of innocent Christians in Nigeria and elsewhere must end. He says the Department of War is always ready. So ISIS found out tonight on Christmas. More to come, and grateful for Nigerian government support and cooperation. We know, because we've confirmed with a Pentagon official, that the Nigerian government was working with the United States. There was approval, and they worked in conjunction on these strikes. So that is an important caveat to this story here. Just some background. In Nigeria over the last year, sectarian violence has continued to be a major problem. Tens of thousands of Nigerians have been either kidnapped or killed, both Christians and Muslims, targeted and killed by terrorist organizations like ISIS and like Boko Haram. In fact, human rights NGO International Society for Civil Liberties and Rule of Law says that this year alone, there were about 7,000 Christians that have been killed. Again, this has been ongoing essentially since 2009, when Boko Haram really established a foothold in Nigeria, Jessica. So we are seeing this killing, again, Muslims and Christians. But tonight, President Trump emphasizing the fact that Christians have been targeted and killed. He has been saying this for some time, that this might be a possibility. And tonight, on Christmas, we are seeing American strikes within Nigeria.
All right, that's just one international media house that's taking a story there about plethora. That's the word.
Yeah.
Almost everybody. It's making the headlines as well. Benga, you're alluded that this is the first time this is happening.
I want to also go back to something that Mr. Katuba had said regarding Nigeria's inability to deal with its terrorism issues because it doesn't have the capacity, not necessarily because of the personnel. You believe that we do not have enough to combat insecurity, right?
Yes.
I want to make reference to Sheikh Gumi's post on Facebook, where he says, as a principle, I'm going to quote an excerpt. He says, as a principle, no nation should allow its land to be a theater of war, and no nation should allow its neighbors to be their enemies. If Nigeria wants military assistance, China, Turkey, and Pakistan can do the job effectively. the U.S. involvement in Nigeria will attract the real anti-U.S. forces, making our land the theater of war. Nigeria should halt all military cooperation with the U.S. immediately because of its imperial tendencies worldwide and seek the help of those neutral countries mentioned. Nigerians are too educated to be played with. This is going to be a 2027 campaign discourse. I want to get your thoughts on that.
Yes, this, in principle, he is very right, but I hope he's very sincere and he's honest. He has the kind of role he has played. I must also commend him. It's just that he talks too much. He has been a collaborator for good in some instances, and even now his statement is correct. But that he recommended those we should work with is wrong on that score. He should not even recommend. He should just say no foreign power should come into Nigeria. Instead of telling us that he rejects US, rather he wants this. Though it means that he wants the one that could give him give some other people. No, for now, we want to commend the US for coming into his neighbor's house to resolve a crisis. If your neighbor's house is on fire, you don't have to look away.
But the United States is thousands of miles away.
We are disqualifying the United States because we feel it's never had a good history, and the wordings and the intention that they are saving only Christians makes it something that I cannot wholesale support, because only Christians have not been the victims in this matter. There have been victims from all sides of the divide. Muslim, Christians, even in Nigeria is very unfair to non-Christians and non-Muslims. We speak as if everybody is either here or there. There are other religious faiths. And the president during Christmas said he will defend everybody so that everybody will have the freedom to practice his faith. He didn't speak that only Christians was going to defend. So the presidency have not spoken. I believe they do not have enough information, because this strike, I can assure you, has been done by Donald Trump and the American government as a surprise. I do not believe they would have shared any information regarding the moment of that strike, especially when even the military tell you that there are saboteurs among them, that sometimes they want to launch an attack on terrorist hideouts and they'll discover that they've relocated. So we shouldn't deceive ourselves that we have a country where there are sentiments and support for even the terrorists, including those who appear to have found themselves in government. You know? Example. So President Jonathan raised an alarm that even within my government, there are people who are sympathizers. Yeah. What is Boko Haram? Boko Haram means Western education is an abomination. That slogan, that word alone is something that every Muslim is sympathetic to. Most Muslims are sympathetic with that word, that brand name of Boko Haram.
Why?
Because when the British people came here many years ago and they brought their education, when they saw the test of the Western education, it attacked the foundation of the creation and says that God is it's not the creator, it's a Big Bang theory. So when they saw those messages, they said this is Haram, this is anti-Islam, knowledge of God. And so they saw Western education as teaching the world against the standards of God. And since then, the crusade of Boko Haram has been on. The word Boko Haram means Western education is an abomination. And so till today, Islamic understanding is that the Islamic education is superior to Western education. So they have the sympathy is there. But a lot of them have risen above that to see it as a security issue.
I'm a bit concerned, because when we say that sympathy is there, it would mean that we're saying that a number of Muslims support Boko Haram.
What I'm saying is, it is a thing. It's like saying a word that negates Jesus Christ. If Christians naturally will go against it, that's what I'm saying to you, that we'll be fighting an ideology over the years called Boko Haram, even within the north. They will see that this young man is one of them. I told you here a story of a principal whose students converted to Boko Haram right within the campus. And they spoke to him that they no longer believe in Western education, that they don't want to write the exam. Even the football they were playing, they regarded it also as part of. So those young boys left the school and they joined the Boko Haram people.
Part of the
and they were coming
indoctrination.
Yes, and when they come to attack the school, they will pre-inform him that they are coming and that he should hide all the people that he wants to hide when they come for the crusade. And when they come, they attack the computer lab and cut away everything, damage them, things that will make the people anchor their knowledge on the international highway of Western education.
All right, let's talk about this attack again by the U.S. The U.S. airstrike. Is it a cause for concern that this happened in Sokoto and not in what places people would typically consider as the ones that have been largely hit, like Borno State, for example?
Yeah, the truth is this. It's not where the conflicts and the attacks takes place that these ISIS people reside. They reside in places that appear to be peaceful and go launch attack and come back there. For example, all the kidnapping in the north were being masterminded from Zamfara. Whereas they go as far as Katsina and move people, and when they are going to negotiate freedom, they go to Zamfara. The matter that happened in Niger, where did they go to? That's why they tell you, they point fingers and say, oh, this mining zone is fueling terrorism, that they should stop mining. They should reduce or ban mining for a period of time. It tells you that Sokoto State might be the headquarter of the residents of these terrorists, because we have our mind and attention have not been drawn to that place. And you know, Sokoto has a big boundary, a big border with Niger Republic. So it's an easy in and out location. Why the government of Nigeria is focusing on the theater of attack. But after the attack, they retreat. They go somewhere.
So what do you think is the implication of this attack, especially now that it's been widely publicized, the media in the West, is going along with this story?
Yeah.
What should we expect in the next few days?
The attack is good, but the narration, the intention, the purpose that is being painted by the Western media that is a savior to save Christians is what Nigerian government must now continue to come in. The Nigerian media must be smart enough. We must drive a narrative to ensure that we don't, fall into a religious crisis at home and think that a Western power has come to partner with Christians. And it's also very difficult for the president, who is a Muslim, and his vice, who are Muslims, to say that they have entered into a partnership to kill, the terrorists that are fighting Christians. I think the terrorists that are fighting Nigeria. That's my opinion, and that's how the narrative must
we will now continue this conversation, still looking at the announcement of the US strikes in Nigeria and what implications of this are now and in the nearest future. But I want to say thank you very much to Mr. Katuba for joining us. Thank you very much.
It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, and we will then take the conversation with our security, with our security analyst, Onyekachi Adekoya, who joins us virtually this morning. Good morning, Mr. Adekoya. Thank you very much for joining us. Let's start by getting your thoughts about the announcement of the airstrikes by the U.S. government, and what kind of picture does that paint for us as a nation?
Good morning, Julius. Really, it's still early days. We're not clear on the number of factors. We don't have information on the battle impact assessment. We can't range the success or failure of it. But I'm a bit concerned about the territorial integrity of Nigeria. This will be the first direct U.S. action in this form, the direct fire action in Nigeria. I'm not talking about the rescue of the U.S. citizen, but I'm a bit concerned about that area and hoping that we have not opened Pandora's box. So that's my immediate assessment. But I understand that Nigeria operationalized a joint desk to work on counter-terrorism activity. An agreement was reached 2024, formalized in November 2025, and then the follow-on action is what we're seeing. So we don't have the details of what the scope of cooperation between the Nigerian government and the American government would be. So there's still a lot of unknowns. And then to say that other actions will follow, we don't know the considerations they're using to qualify these targets, and what is the interlap of action between Nigeria and the U.S., and whether if you're using drone bomb or some other systems that could be fired from the current platform that Nigeria has, what then is the value of a direct U.S. action within the space. So a lot of things are not known. It's still early days, so I would rather wait to see what the battle damage assessment report would be like.
And if you're saying,
what was it?
Mr. Adekoya, if you're saying that a lot of things are not known, which I can understand clearly, whose responsibility is it to let us know these things?
The problem is with the domain of statecraft. Information is managed. So I think that for now, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued a statement on behalf of the federal government And that is what we have to work with for now, to say that it's a joint action between the US government and the Nigerian government in their corporations. And any country can work towards cooperation with any other country as long as it is invited by the country. What I worry a bit about is that just on the eve of this attack, Nigeria was classed further down the hole in this country of interest, further visa restriction piece. With Hexed has issued one statement, Donald Trump is issuing a conflicting statement. You had the bomb blast in Maiduguri, and then you have this action in the Northwest. In our line of work, we don't believe in coincidences, so trying to link everything together is still what we're trying to do to have a sense. But to your question, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has issued the barest minimum statement it can issue. What we're saying is that the agreement between states in this instance is not necessarily, when it comes to national security and national interest, not everything will be out there in the public domain, but in our own sphere of work, one way or the other, we have a sense of what is happening, and then we can make informed commentary. So for now, it's still early days. That's what I'm saying.
Early days, and Nigerians are asking questions. It seems like you mentioned, and we have also mentioned here, the only one response that was gotten came from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. While if you check the United States platforms, you find updates upon updates, although it's still sketchy in terms of numbers of casualties or what really took place. But as a security expert, can we rightly say that the army, the security operatives were well aware, well informed? And what does this actually portend for the Nigerian military? Does this show that, of course, they can now go in full swing, knowing that they have the support of the United States of America?
No, let's just make some points clear on even empirically. Since the insurgency, the U.S. government has cooperated with Nigerian intelligence sharing. So there's a clear case of cooperation between the two states. Number two, the U.S. classes Nigeria as a strategic security partner, okay? And we do procure weapons from them. So we've gone from weapon supply to an operational relationship where the agreements reached between the two states are now being implemented based on the agreement of 2025 November. So that's what we know. Is our military aware? Yes. Is this the first time that the military is bombing? EJ did that. The Air Force did a number of bombing in the Northwest. So bombing in the Northwest is not new. It's been happening, and perhaps will continue to happen. What is, however, new is that this is the first time that you're having a direct U.S. fire action using aerial platforms or using a battleship to fire directly into Nigeria's territorial space, whether or not it was invited. So that is the only different thing. And it doesn't portend, I shouldn't say it doesn't, it does have some risk, okay? And we're trying to wait. What is the nature of relations? That's what I'm saying. We don't know what was agreed. In Africa, for example, Kenya, Morocco, Tunisia are classed as major non-NATO allies. And in Djibouti, which is the anchor of African Command, the U.S. African Command in Africa, it is clear what that relationship is. Nigeria has had a very interesting relationship with the U.S. from the 1960s to the Biafran Civil War, when the U.S. was neutral, to when Jimmy Carter came to Nigeria, to our history with Abuja. So we've not really had a clear relationship with the U.S. Okay, so we are not clear, even as at now, what is the scope of this relationship, what does it cover, and what action is expected from the parties. All we are seeing is Donald Trump, in his typical nature, jeopardizing perhaps a sensible operational relationship between Nigeria and the United States, going off tandem, making comments that are at variance to what his Minister of Defense has said. But again, that's typical of Donald Trump. He can say one thing, mean one thing. He may be messaging his own domestic audience. Okay, so in terms of the impact on Nigeria, we are not clear yet until we see the terms in print as to what Nigerian government has agreed with the U.S. government. But what we're saying is that if you look at the diplomatic angle, the relationship seems to be on a tandem, at variance with this military action. So we are not clear if this is strategic ambiguity, good and fine. If it's achieving some greater objective, good and fine. But we are not clear on so many things. So your last question, does this now give the Nigerian government impetus? I would say that we've appointed a former Chief of Defense Staff, Minister of Defense. That is clear impetus on its own. The report from the field is like that the Nigerian army is now going on a hunt for terrorists. They are taking a more active approach, no longer a passive, reactionary, static approach. And some reports suggest that the terrorists and armed bandits are wanting to negotiate with the Nigerian government because of the increased heat. The incident in Borno State is perhaps also a reaction to the increased pressure on the terrorists, whether they be in the north central, northeast, or the northwest. As a matter of fact, we've recorded significant progress in the north central against the fight. So I don't think that the strike by the US gives the Nigerian army additional impetus. They already have that they are motivated. And we recently just did some procurement for weapons for the army, even from the US. What, again, I'm saying is that the fine details of the agreement reached between Nigeria and the US is not clear. And the precedent set is also a bit worrisome in terms of correctly, and regardless of what anybody says, our territorial integrity is also very important, because the US can supply the weapons to Nigeria and train our people, and we can fire those weapons. Okay, that would just be my only slight area of concern. So until a lot is known, I can't make an informed assessment of the situation.
Okay. So what we know so far, Mr. Adekoya, is that in the history of Nigeria since independence, a foreign nation has not dropped a single bomb on Nigerian territory until last night. And what we also know is that we're awaiting impact assessment, and also things will get clearer by the day. We also know the language that was put out and the messaging coming out from the United States government is, there's a specific highlighting of, Christians being the only victims of terrorism in Nigeria, coming from Rep. Miley and also President Trump. And Nigeria is a very religiously sensitive country. And looking at America's imperial history and America's bombing of Muslim majority countries in the Middle East and elsewhere, does this not risk, adding more fuel to the fire, the sort of messaging that is coming out from the United States government? If you could advise the Nigerian government on how to manage its communication, what should it be telling Nigerians now? And do you think the Commander-in-Chief should speak to Nigerians at this unprecedented time in our history?
To your last point, I think that yes, the Commander-in-Chief should speak to Nigerians and provide some clarity. Importantly, because there's a misalignment between the statements. So in America, the institutions of states that have clear responsibility, and then you have the one man, Donald Trump, who writes his own speeches, does what he wants, who's speaking at a different tandem. At the other hand, the president must also assess whether or not he wants to give political leverage in the case where there's a strategic negotiation between the US and Nigeria. Trump having any leverage on the Nigerian polity over and above that of the president may also be disadvantageous to the president. So the president has to weigh his actions very clearly as to what he wants to do. To your other point on the checkered relationship between Nigeria and the US because of Nigeria's significant Muslim population, I think that point is clear. The US didn't join the Nigerian government. It maintained neutrality during the Biafra War. Relationship only improved during the Gulf War crisis, where Nigeria became a major supplier to the US. Then we moved to a presidential system following Jimmy Carter's visit in 1978. But since that small stint, we've had a very, will I say, interesting, frosty relationship with the United States, again, because of some of the sentiments you have already shared. Now, do we risk a religious tensioning? No, I don't think so, because people are tired of the killing, really. It doesn't matter, Christians. And, we've argued that Muslims are perhaps being killed the most in this country. And a lot of these are underreported because even the religion itself preaches that, you submit to the will of God. Our culture in the West or in the South is generally different. We can be a bit more apprehensive to some of these things, and we resist narratives that, it's all the will of God. So killings in the South, North Central, would raise a lot more doors than it would be in a conservative Muslim North. So empirically, over the last 6 years, the Muslim communities have been most impacted, I would say, in the Northwest. Seems to be holding its ground fairly well. Even the governors of the APC states and the rest, so the incident occurred of the bombing, there's been a small attempt to coordinate between the states and the national in what is being said and what is not being said. That's why you're not seeing states rushing out to statements. I think that the political fallout will be managed, and importantly, anything that improves security for Nigerians, as long as it is the interest of Nigeria and peace and security, I do think that we've gotten to a point where we're tired of the one-ton killings, the one-ton ransom. Imagine paying almost 2.7 trillion naira in ransom over a 10-year period. It's ridiculous. I think Nigerians are truly tired of it. But whatever it is we're getting involved with, we must be sure that it is in our national interest, ensures our national security, and does not impact or impair our national defense.
Well, thank you so much for joining us, despite the short notice, to look into this recent happening here in Nigeria. I'm sure this is a developing story, and News Central will do its best to ensure that our reporters will do our best mostly to get there and see what the remains look like. But thanks for your time and shedding more light on this situation. Thank you.
Thank you for having me, and happy Boxing Day to Nigeria.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, guys, so this is where we end the show today on Breakfast Central. What a show. That's what we're going to call it. I think for me, it's
and what a Boxing Day to wake up to.
This was not expected. Like we did see, some of the SSAs to the president are just putting out the tweets not too long ago. Apparently, they were also sleeping and woke up to the surprise.
And we have to justify our pay.
Okay.
So let's put out something.
Tweets on, when did this happen? Okay, and so on and so forth. But we hope that before the day ends, maybe the number one citizen will address Nigerians, letting them know that
my hope and prayer is that this doesn't, because history serves as a guide. Because there's nowhere the United States of America has gone through that has turned out better for it and intervened militarily. So prayers up. That's all.
Olive, thank you so much for coming on the show today. It's good to see you. Thank you, Benga, for being here.
Thank you very much for hosting us on the show today. We'll be right back again next week. It's the final Friday of 2020.
Wow. And that's today.
So see you next year, Friday.
See you. By this time next Friday, it will be us saying 2026. But enjoy the rest of the show. Jassi will be taking over from here. My name is Olive Emodi, and I'll see you on Monday.